Hello, and welcome back to another podcast episode with me, Eurydia, and I am here today with.
Awesome. Today we will talk about the Catholic Reformation, Protestant Reformation, and the Catholic Counter-Reformation. But first, Eurydia, do you understand what exactly is the Catholic Reformation?
The Reformation is a 16th century religious and political trouble that splintered Catholic Europe, establishing Protestantism and transforming Western civilization. But when exactly did the Catholic Reformation even start?
The Catholic Reformation started in the early 1500s when early Christians found out that there was a lot of corruption within the Roman Catholic churches. The Catholic Reformation was growing exponentially, which grew the divide between clerks and laity. Clerks are the members of the clergy. They perform spiritual duties such as conducting services, providing counsel, and managing rituals. Laity are specifically lay people. These are individuals who are not members of the clergy in the religious context. They lack specialized professional knowledge in the specific field.
So, based on that definition, is the Catholic Reformation just the start of change and the spread of Catholicism?
The Catholic Reformation wasn't only about change, it was also a revolution during art and how art influenced religion.
How was art revolutionized during the time?
Before the Revolution, there were a lot of artworks of saints and spiritual beings in the sky. During and after the Reformation, the artists got more realistic scenes of everyday life. The artists focused more on non-religious themes. They focused on themes such as still life, landscape, portrait, and genre paintings. For example, The Calling of Saint Matthew by Caravaggio and its emphasis of dramatic lighting and religious intensity to inspire faith. But Raphael was one of the most well-known artists during the era, with his dramatic lighting and the School of Athens, which featured a multi-visual and used the variation of architecture to draw the viewers in.
But we also have to talk about the Protestant Reformation. So, how exactly did the Protestant Reformation start?
The Protestant Reformation started in the early 1500s, and it started by Martin Luther when he nailed his 95 Thesis, which was 95 reasons on why the Catholic Church was corrupt, before he started his own church, which he called the Lutheran Church.
Did you know that Martin Luther was an Augustinian friar, which is basically commonly referred to as a Catholic monk? But how exactly did the Protestant Reformation challenge the Catholic Church?
The Catholic Church was challenged by the Protestant Reformation because of the Protestant Reformation following individual faith instead of the hierarchical system of the Catholic Church, which was seen as corrupt. Martin Luther listed in one of the 95 reasons that the indulgences were seen as systems put in place for the rich to receive forgiveness while the poor suffered in their sin. Indulgences were grants made by the Catholic Church that reduced spiritual consequences for sins that have already been forgiven. In the Catholic teachings, even after a sin is forgiven through confessions, there are also still a spiritual consequence. An indulgence was meant to lessen or remove that punishment, often by performing certain prayers, pilgrimages, and acts of charity.
What were the causes that resulted in corruption and desire for reform?
Some causes of the Protestant Reformation was the enormous power and wealth that the Catholic Church had over all the congregation. There was a loss of spiritual leadership in the church that led people who have done wrong to get spiritually pardoned. These spiritual pardons are known as indulgences, and they're done by the higher clergy. These made people question whether the church was corrupted since they gave pardons to the worst kinds of things a person could ever do. On top of that, they would have the person pay for the indulgence, profiting in people wanting to be cleansed for whatever corruption they may have. And because of this, the Protestant Reformation started. They didn't want to be as corrupted as the Catholic Church was. They wanted to be better and do better. And to start with, they separated from the Catholic Church because they thought that that was where most of the corruption was at. But after the Protestant Reformation, the Catholic Church began their Counter-Reformation in order to bring people back into the Catholic faith.
First off, we have to understand, why did the Catholic Church respond?
The Catholic Church felt the need to respond to the rapid growth of the Protestant Reformation because they felt as if the Protestant churches were taking most of the people in their congregation, and they didn't want to be known as corrupt.
Since we know why they responded, how did the Catholic Church respond?
The Catholic Church aimed at reforming internal corruption, reaffirming doctrines, and limiting Protestant expansion. Some clear examples of this are the Council of Trent, the Jutes, and the Roman Inquisition. The Council of Trent was a council made up by Pope Paul III. It abolished the sales of indulgences, and it also solidified doctrines, making spreading the scripture the most important part of Catholicism. Jesuits, also known as the Society of Jesus, was founded to act like a spiritual army. They focused on education, missionary work, and defending the Catholic faith. Almost everything that the Protestants found wrong in the Catholic faith, the Jesuits helped make it right. This, in result, played a crucial role in stopping the spread of Protestantism. The Roman Inquisition was an administration of tribunal whose sole purpose was to defend Catholic doctrines, fight back Protestants, and suppress dissension during Counter-Reformation.
Thank you for listening and for your attention. Tune in next podcast when they talk about sacred architecture in Mesoamerica.